Hi students, myself Suresh DB, lecturer in Automobile Engineering Department, SNM Polytechnic, Mudabidri. Today I am going to talk about design of engine parts in that session number 1 from the subject design of machine element. First let us see the table of content. So now we are going to discuss about design of cylinders here. In the design of cylinders we have thickness of the cylinder wall, bore and length of the cylinder and cylinder flange and struts. So we are going to discuss about all these things in this session. Now let us see about the design of cylinders. So before studying the design of cylinders, we should know the parts which are included in the cylinders. You can see the diagram here. This is the internal combustion engine diagram. So here we have spark plug. That means, so this is the engine of SI engine. So this is the SI engine. So we have inlet manifold here through which the charge enters into the engine cylinder, and we have exhaust manifold here. The burnt gases goes out of the combustion chamber through this, and we have inlet valve, inlet exhaust valve, and valve spring, and this is the cylinder, and this is the cylinder valve, and here we have water jackets, and this is the piston and connecting rod, and this is the crankshaft, and we have cam here which is used to operate the valves, and we have here crank pin, and this is the crankcase. So these are the major parts of the cylinders. Before designing engine cylinder, we should know the components which receives stress or force or heat, whatever it may be. If you know the components which are undergoing these conditions, then we can design the parts very easily. Now let us see about the thickness of the cylinder wall. The cylinder wall is subjected to gas pressure and piston side thrust. So you should know. So whenever we are going to design the cylinder wall, we have to consider these two factors. That means cylinder wall is undergoing gas pressure, or it is subjected to gas pressure, and also the piston side thrust. So due to the inclined movement of the connecting rod, which is connected to piston and crankshaft, the piston usually goes and hits the side of the cylinder wall. So that is actually called the side thrust. So we have to consider these two factors before designing the cylinder wall. Now the gas pressure produced inside the engine cylinder are of two types. There are two types of gas pressures produced. They are longitudinal stress and circumferential stress. Let us first see, since these two stresses acts at right angles to each other, therefore the net stress in each direction is reduced. Actually you can see longitudinal means it is in the up and down direction. Circumferential means from the center of the cylinder towards the circumference of the cylinder. So these two stresses are at right angles to each other. So whenever the two stresses acts right angle to each other, you should know that the net result of those two stresses will be definitely reduced. So here also, since these longitudinal stress and circumferential stresses are acting right angle to each other, the net stress is reduced. The piston side thrust tends to bend the cylinder wall, but the stress in the wall to side thrust is very small, and hence it can be neglected. So piston side thrust, you know that piston side thrust, piston hits the walls of the cylinder wall and it tends to bend the cylinder wall. But the stress in the wall to the side thrust is very small, therefore it can be neglected. Now let us see, let D naught equal to outside diameter of the cylinder, D equal to inside diameter of the cylinder, small letter P equal to maximum pressure inside the cylinder, which is in Newton per meter square, and T equal to thickness of the cylinder wall, and 1 by M, which is called Poisson's ratio. Now, the apparent longitudinal stress is given by that is stress is given by force by area. So L means longitudinal stress. Now force by area. You know that force equal to area into pressure. So area here pi d square by 4. This is the area, and here this is into pressure. And area means here cross sectional area. Cross sectional area of the cylinder, we have outside diameter d naught, inside diameter d. Therefore here it is d naught pi by 4 into d naught minus d square. That means pi by 4 into d naught square minus pi by 4 into d square. That is pi by 4 is the common term. Therefore pi by 4 into d naught square minus d square. Here the force is inside the cylinder. Therefore it is only pi d square by 4. So this is the area, cross sectional area. Therefore cross sectional area means it is here we have to consider inside diameter as well as outside diameter. So by this, if you simplify this, we will get longitudinal stress equal to d square into p divided by d naught square minus d square. So let it be equation number 1. The apparent circumferential stress is given by, once again, sigma c equal to force by area. Here force is d into L into p. Once again here area into pressure, divided by here the cross sectional area at which the circumferential stress is acting is this one, that is 2 into T into L. So you have to consider the thickness of the cylinder wall into the length of the cylinder into 2, because it is acting at the opposite direction, double side. Therefore it is 2. Now sigma c equal to dp divided by 2t. Let it be equation number 2, where L equal to length of the cylinder. So this L equal to length of the cylinder. Now the net longitudinal stress is given by longitudinal stress minus sigma c by m. That means sigma c into Poisson's ratio. Let it be equation number 3. In the same way, net circumferential stress is given by sigma c minus longitudinal stress into Poisson's ratio. Let it be equation number 4. Thickness of the cylinder wall is usually obtained by using the thin cylinder formula. That is T equal to P into D divided by 2 into sigma c plus C. Let it be equation number 5, where P equal to maximum pressure inside the engine cylinder, D equal to inside diameter of the cylinder, or it is also called cylinder bore, or also it is called just bore. Sigma C equal to permissible circumferential stress, or it is also called hoop stress for the cylinder material, which is in Newton per mm square. You should always know this. All the stresses, any stress, allowable stresses depends upon the material by which it is made. Its value may be taken from 35 MPa to 100 MPa depending upon the size and material of the cylinder, where this C equal to allowance for reboring. So in the engine cylinder, while manufacturing, they leave the allowance for reboring. So that is called here C. The allowance for reboring depends upon the cylinder bore diameter of IC engine. So these are the table. So this table gives the allowance for reboring of IC engine cylinders. Just like see, for the diameter of 75 mm, we have the clearance or allowance of about 1.5 mm. For 100 mm diameter, it is about 2.4 mm and so on. The thickness of the cylinder wall usually varies from 4.5 mm to 25 mm or more depending on the size of the cylinder. And thickness of the cylinder wall T may be obtained also from empirical relation. So this one is the relation. Thickness of the cylinder is 4.5 mm to 25 mm, and this one is empirical relation, where T equal to 0.045 D plus 1.6 mm, and this is called empirical relation. The other empirical relations are as follows. The thickness of the dry liners is given by 0.03 D minus 0.035 D. thickness of water jacket wall is equal to 0.032 D plus 1.6 mm. Or the thickness of the water jacket wall can also be obtained by this, that is T by 3 for big cylinders and 3 by 4 or 3 into T by 4 for small cylinders. The water space between the outer cylinder wall and inner jacket wall is equal to 10 mm for 75 mm cylinder to 75 mm for 750 mm cylinders, or it also obtained by empirical relation 0.8 D plus 6.5 mm. Now to find the bore and length of the cylinder. Here Pm equal to indicated mean effective pressure, which is in Newton per mm square. So why we are considering mean effective pressure? See, in the engine cylinder, the pressure goes on varies during the stroke. If you consider a compression stroke, when piston moves from VDC to TDC, then the pressure goes on increases. Therefore, we don't have any particular pressure inside the engine cylinder. It changes in the fractions of second, or at the each movement of the piston, the pressure inside the engine cylinder goes on changes. For this purpose, we are taking the mean effective pressure inside the engine cylinder, where D equal to diameter of the bore, A equal to cross-sectional area of the cylinder, and small letter L equal to length of the stroke in meter, and you should remember this is in meter, and N equal to speed of the engine in RPM, and small letter n equal to number of working strokes per minute. So for 1 minute, how much working strokes? You know that RPM means revolution per minute. Working stroke means the number of rotation the crankshaft takes. So n means speed of the engine in RPM. That means number of rotation crankshaft makes in 1 minute. So if you want to know the number of working strokes, you know that for 2-stroke engine, for each revolution of the crankshaft, we have 1 working stroke. For in case of 4-stroke engine, we have for 2 strokes of 2 revolution of the crankshaft, 1 working stroke. Therefore, for 2-stroke engine, n equal to n, and for 4-stroke engine, small letter n equal to n by 2. Now, we know that the power produced inside the engine cylinder is IP. You know that this is the one equation, Pm into L into A into N divided by 60. You can remember this equation by a simple word called plan. Plan by 60. Plan, where P means indicated mean effective pressure, L means length of the cylinder or length of the stroke, and A equal to cross sectional area, and small letter n equal to number of working stroke per minute. And from this equation, D, that is diameter, and stroke length L is determined, because in this area we have area cross sectional area means pi d square by 4. If you substitute pi d square by 4 here, then we have D here, and by using this equation we are going to find out the diameter as well as we are going to find out the length. Okay. Now the length of the stroke is generally taken as 1.25 D to 2D. So you can even take this also. Since there is clearance on both sides of the cylinder, the length of the cylinder is taken as 15% greater than the length of the stroke. See, this is the length of the stroke, or this is the length of the stroke L, and after finding the length of the stroke, we have to add 15% extra for the purpose of clearance. So we are having clearance on both sides. In other words, the length of the cylinder L, capital letter L, is given by 1.15 into length of the stroke. So this is the equation, or it is also called 1.15 into small letter L, where L is the length of the stroke and capital letter L equal to length of the cylinder. We should note one thing here. If the brake power BP and mechanical efficiency is given, the indicated power can be obtained by this equation. Usually you know one equation. mechanical efficiency equal to brake power by indicated power. So from the same relation we can find IP equal to BP by mechanical efficiency. And the maximum gas pressure P may also be taken from 9 to 10 times the mean effective pressure. Now let us see about cylinder flange and studs. The flange thickness should be taken as 1.2 T to 1.4 T, where T is the thickness of the cylinder valve. The diameter of the stud or bolt may also be obtained by equating the gas load to the maximum pressure in the cylinder. So see, this is two equation equating gas load and the maximum pressure inside the engine cylinder. So this gives the maximum gas pressure inside the cylinder, and this is the equation which gives the gas load. So if you equate these two, where here D equal to cylinder bore, P equal to maximum pressure, and Ns equal to number of studs, which may be taken as 0.01 D plus 4 to 0.02 D plus 4, and DC equal to core diameter or root diameter of the screw thread, and sigma T equal to allowable tensile stress for the stud material or bolt material, which is taken as 35 to 70 MPa, and major diameter D or nominal diameter of the stud lies between 0.75 TF to TF, where TF equal to thickness of the flange. Distance of flange from the center of the hole for the stud or bolt should not be less than D plus 6 mm and not more than 1.5 D. So you have to see this, where whenever we are finding out the distance of the flange from the center of the hole, we should compare with this. Pitch of the stud or bolt lies between 19 root D to 28.5 root D, where D is in mm. Now let us see about the cylinder head. While designing a cylinder head, it may be considered as flat circular plate. See, the cross section or the shape of the cylinder head is not a particular geometrical figure. Therefore, we are just considering it as a flat circular plate. So for that, the thickness of the head is given by D into square root of C into P divided by sigma C, where D is cylinder bore diameter and P equal to maximum pressure inside the cylinder, and sigma C is allowable circumferential stress whose value lies between 30 to 50 MPa, and this is C equal to a constant which is equal to 0.1. The pitch circle diameter dP equal to D plus 3D. So thank you. I would like to thank our chairman Mr. Gopinath K, our LMS coordinator Mr. Jagdish R. Bagli, our moderator Mr. Takappa Chauhan, our subject expert Mr. Gururaj Deshpande, and myself, the content developer Suresh DB, SNM Polytechnic, Mudabidri.